Hi guys, welcome back to another Bitcoin video update. Today we are obviously going to be taking a look at the technical analysis on BTC, sharing my thoughts and opinions on where I think BTC is heading. So if you get into this video and you find it useful, informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. Let's jump right down and take a look at what's going on here with BTC. So here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT. We're on the 4-hour Binance chart here, and we can see that we've actually got the potential for a rising wedge. This ascending wedge pattern is unfortunately usually a trend reversal. So I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions on what's going on here with this raising wedge and what potentially could break it, what could invalidate it, and what the bulls are going to be looking to try to do in order to kind of really see a great breakout and avoid any kind of reversal in the market. And of course, I'll go through what this pattern is likely to do if the bears take control of the situation and drag the price to the downside. And then, of course, I will discuss my approaches to trading on either one of those scenarios, okay, because it's money to be made using proper risk management, leverage, and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look. So a raising wedge pattern is bearish. It's usually a trend reversal pattern. And for the bulls are going to be looking to try and break out of this wedge, right? They're going to be looking at the current area of resistance, the 47,150 to the 48,969, right? This is the current area that we were rejected from previously and where the bulls are going to be trying to push their way through. Specifically, they're going to be looking to try to get a new local high, higher than 48,969. Now, being the Sunday, it's an incredibly volatile move because the weekly close is also happening. We can see here the weekly close right now is inside this range, and the weekly position, ideally, the bulls are going to be looking for closing up there. If it can close up there on the weekly, it's a nice strong. If they can get a higher position than the previous high, then that's going to be the best thing for the bulls. So ideally, close the weekly candle above 48,969. Now, back onto our bearish ascending wedge pattern here, what the bulls are going to want to do is basically push that price up so high that this is no longer a rising wedge. Instead, it kind of breaks it out into more of a megaphone-based pattern. Okay, so that's going to be what they want to do. They're going to try to push that price to a point where this becomes more of a parallel and then out of that parallel. Okay, so if I draw that in there, so a parallel channel, essentially what that means is you're bouncing from the high range to the low range and you're in this parallel channel. Also, not the best thing in the world, but at least you can push up a little bit higher. Okay, and of course, outside of that, ideally, they want to break that entirely and push the price even higher. So with all those things in mind, at the moment, we are in this this raising wedge, which will be bearish, which ultimately will lead the price to the downside. Now, because we've tested the higher range here already, we will be looking, or the bears will be looking at trying to push the price back to the low trend line of the support range. Okay, now, if I go ahead and draw another little area of interest in here, I'm going to draw it right about here and draw it across. In fact, that's probably a little bit on the low side. I'm going to redraw that on the next previous high. Yeah, about here, that's about right. So this one coming in at 45,500 to 45,879. This particular area would be a great place for the bears to try to take the price down to. And the reason for that is that this is an area of previous resistance that turned to support briefly, and we lost it. And then we've come back, we rallied through it, but we haven't retested it as a support line. Now, this support range would have a lot of potential buying pressure there. And it also coincides nicely with our lower trend line for support as well. So that's going to be the first thing that the bears are going to be looking to try to do. In terms of price percentage points, if they're able to do this, we're probably talking about 6.5%. It's not massive, but it's a pretty significant move nonetheless, and would be a great place to be thinking about shorting the market. So we could potentially go short on the market here, stop loss just above that upper trend line and above that previous swing high, with our percentage points or take profit being down here right inside that range between 45,500 and 45,879. Gives us a risk reward ratio of about 1.94. So again, if I'm to trade that, I will be trading on BitGet. BitGet is my go-to platform for all my leverage-based trades. Link for that is down in the description below. If you haven't yet signed up to BitGet, I do urge you guys to check it out. I think it's a fantastic platform, and I think you will be very much aligned to my thinking if you do go ahead and join over at BitGet. Now, with that, that's going to be your kind of bearish situation. The bulls are also going to be looking at trying to get a breakout. And so we could potentially also be looking for a long position should the bulls be able to do this. Now, the bulls could potentially see a breakout situation above 48,969. And there isn't really a good take profit that I have kind of to mind right now, but I would say probably 52,000 seems to be the most common area, I think, for a potential TP. And our stop loss, of course, can be really, really narrow here, assuming that we don't revisit back inside this this rising wedge area. So again, we can get a nice tight stop loss on this one as well, I think, should we see that breakout situation. Now, the ascending wedge being bearish, we obviously know that the bulls are going to want to try to break out of it and the bears are going to want to try to come on down. Now, the bears in themselves would potentially be looking at victory if they can break this lower support line. Okay, so i.e. they're going to come down potentially deeper than the 200 4-hour EMA. Now, if they can do that, that's going to basically be a great spot for shorting as well, because if we could short here on the break of this trend line, nice tight stop loss, great take profit, probably back down revisiting $38,500. And there's some interesting ranges of support as well around 40 to 41K. So we could be less greedy and really focus in at maybe like $41,500. Still get you some great take profit ranges, good risk reward ratios and those kind of things as well. Now, the other thing with this ascending wedge is there's a couple of different variations of it. As you can see here, I have this one scoped out using one of the wicks that we had down on, I think the 17th of January, right? And the low from where we actually hit $38,500. Now, if we actually consider the highs that we have over here, we can actually go ahead and make an unfortunate ascending wedge actually appear much more sinister. And that is this one right here. So you can see that we still have potential to move to this upper trend line and basically within this raising wedge pattern. And that could still be, unfortunately, a bearish reversal in the market. This actually puts us more up towards kind of that $54,000 to $54,000 to $55,000 should this one be what we're actually seeing. So you can see here that this ascending wedge is something of major concern that I have on Bitcoin at the moment. So we do want to see these bulls really kind of push harder and try to get through as much of this as possible, turning these ascending wedges into more megaphone-based patterns and expand out rather than contract in. So we want to be very mindful over these at the moment. There are a couple of different scenarios that are potentially unfolding here for Bitcoin. So we know that the bulls are looking for that breakout, and we know that the bears, considering they're testing the resistance right now, are looking to try to drag that price down. Should they be successful, we'll be looking for that lower trend line. Okay, so again, some fantastic trading opportunities for BTC here on the kind of 4-hour time frame. So obviously for reference, guys, this is Bitcoin USDT pairing 4-hour Binance chart. I don't know if I've mentioned that already or not. And so we can see some pretty good potential here for Bitcoin to go in both directions. We just need to see a breakout or a breakdown from our current areas to confirm those. So as I said earlier, if we really want to be on the market today, we'll be looking for shorting the market down towards our lower range, as I kind of spoke earlier, 45.5 to 45,879. And if we can get a break above this trend line, then we can go long, specifically put in a nice tight stop loss and probably aim up more towards that kind of, as I said, $54,000 to $55,000, getting you some great take profit if I actually choose the long position rather than the short position there. So nice tight stop loss and good take profit up towards that kind of 50, probably 53 actually to 55. I'll kind of get a little bit more conservative on that one. And great risk reward ratio potential here on a breakout situation. So again, like I said earlier, if I'm going to trade, I'm going to be trading with BitGet, and the link for that is in the description down below. Now, if you're into Bitcoin, you're probably going to want to check out this video as well, where I go through the on-chain analysis of BTC and I share my thoughts and opinions on what is going on with those Bitcoin whales.